This is the Peabody volunteer induction video. Thank you for watching. It's going to be a very short video, but it's going to give you lots of information about what it's like to be a volunteer at Peabody and all the information that you're going to need to make your experience a good one. As I said, we've got quite a lot to cover. In this video, we're going to be looking at an introduction to the Peabody volunteering team. We're going to be looking at the volunteering programme as a whole, and letting you know what our expectations are of volunteers and also what you might expect as well as a volunteer with us. We're looking at employment and training and giving you some information about that, as well as data protection. And then we'll be going through Peabody's history and vision, our new approach and our values. After that, we'll be looking at rights and responsibilities, confidentiality, safeguarding, health and safety, and ending your role. And on the last slide, I'm going to give you some information about how to contact us if you need anything else. So here's a brief look at the volunteering team. So the volunteering team sits within community mobilisation alongside the partnerships team and youth social action at Peabody. So I'm Sarah Felloper, I'm the volunteering lead, and I also deal with volunteers and who are staff across the organisation. As well as that, I get volunteers involved in vocational volunteering and development, and I lead on the programme in general. So in my team, we've got Eleanor Harrington. She deals with social action work stream and also leads on community leaders microgrants. And we have Vicky Smith, who is leading on our relationships with management committees. I'll go into a little bit more detail about what each of those areas looks like and what the team actually does later on in the video. Just to give you an idea of the scope of opportunities that we've got at Peabody at the moment, these are the sorts of things that we're offering. Please feel free to look on our website. We're always updating it with new roles, as well as if you're doing the role with us at the moment and you fancy looking at something else and trying something different, we've always got lots of things to choose from. So please do feel free to look at our website about any other opportunities that might interest you. This year, we've had quite a few really good achievements. So we're now proud achievers of the Investing in Volunteers Award. Last year, we involved over 800 volunteers in our work, and we're on track for the same target now. Our volunteers are helping us with a range of projects across the organisation. We also made 140 befriending relationships during the height of the pandemic, which was great for our residents who are socially isolated. And we've also had some fantastic feedback from our volunteers as well. If you haven't had one already, this is your volunteer handbook. Please do ask us if you haven't received one, because this really does contain all the information that you'll need to be a volunteer with us at Peabody. So it gives you a nice idea of what sort of resources and support you've got available, how to deal with any concerns and who to contact as well. Likewise, we've got a booklet for management committees. So if you're in a management committee and you're watching this video and you haven't had this booklet, please do ask Vicky because she will send you a copy. Again, this has got everything that you need to know about running a committee in our community buildings. Well worth a read. Please do take the time to have a look at it. And also for our community leaders, if you're a community leader and you're watching this video, we've also got a booklet for you as well, which is like a welcome pack, but it gives you lots of other information that you might need as part of your microgrant. So when you join us as a volunteer, you're going to have some expectations of us as an organisation. So you want to have a really clear role. You would like to be treated with kindness and respect and in line with best practice. And it's also good to feel valued for your contributions and to feel part of the fabric of Peabody as an organisation and within our teams. You also would like to have appropriate resources and training, to have regular support, guidance, check-ins and supervision, and to have your expenses reimbursed. We do all of those things and that's outlined in your handbook, so please do take the time to read it. Likewise, we've got some expectations of you as a volunteer as well. First of all, we'd like you to be reliable and on time for your sessions, or if you can't come, just please let us know. This ensures that we can provide appropriate alternatives, and it also helps us to make sure that you're safe as well. So if you don't turn up for something, then it makes us it helps us to know that you're okay. We also ask that you follow our policies and procedures and the guidelines set out in the handbook, and that you follow our code of conduct and represent Peabody in a professional manner. We'll be sending your code of conduct with your handbook as well when you ask for it. At this stage, it might be good for you to think about goals that you want to set for yourself as a volunteer. If you don't have any at the moment, that's fine. But if you do, it might be good to jot those down. And then during your time with us, you can speak to us about those goals, and we can see if we can help you along the way to achieving them. Lots of volunteers join us because they want to get experience for employment. We do have an employment and training team, an economic inclusion team, and they're very welcome to sign you up. You're very welcome to get signed up with them. They can help you with your CV, so looking at the CV that you've already got and making that better. They can also support with job searches. You'll also be sent regular bulletin updates on external training. Most of the training is free, and you should keep a lookout for any of these updates, because we will send them quite regularly. We've also got a package of training for management committees and small groups and community leaders as well through the community mobilisation team, and that covers governance, fundraising and bid writing, marketing and comms, evaluation, community organising, volunteer management, and there's also a guide for using our community buildings for your activities. We take data protection really seriously at Peabody. We've got a team on hand to answer any questions, and their sole function is data protection. So if you've got any questions about your own data or data that you might be holding for other people as part of your role, then you could always go to the data protection team to get some guidance from them. They are really, really supportive, and they explain things very clearly. So please don't shy away from speaking to them, because they are there to support us. Our staff are also trained in data protection. That's a mandatory requirement across the organisation. And we're also working on data protection training for volunteers. All our files are kept in accordance with GDPR requirements. And if you'd like some more information, we've got a privacy policy on the Peabody website, which you can access at any time. So now we're going to look at Peabody's history and vision, because it always helps to know what sort of organisation you're going into as a volunteer or an employee. So this is George Peabody. He was an American philanthropist, and he was born in New England in 1795. More than 20 organisations in London and America owe their existence to him, and they reflect his interests in education, music, science, banking, and of course, housing. He's best known in the UK as the founder of Peabody, and through the Peabody Donation Fund, founded in 1862, he gave £500,000 to tackle poverty and poor housing in London. So he came over, he saw the poverty in London, and he really wanted to make a difference. Queen Victoria acknowledged the gift as wholly without parallel, and the Prince of Wales unveiled a statue of Peabody on Threadneedle Street to commemorate the event. Since then, we've been creating opportunities for people in London, and our mission remains the same, and that's to make London a city of opportunity for all by ensuring people have a good home, a real sense of purpose, and a strong feeling of belonging. This just gives you a bit of an idea of the scope of Peabody. Over 150 years after we were first established, we've merged with Family Mosaic, and we've also just merged with Catalyst as well. So you may have heard about that. It's quite an exciting time in our history. This is quite an old image. I think that we are expanding a little bit more now that we've merged with Catalyst. So if you want to see the new scope after we've fully merged, then let us know and we can make that available. This is an idea of who our volunteers are and what they're doing across our organisation. So more than 800 volunteers carry out a number of roles in offices, on estates and at community centres across London every year, with the largest housing association in London to be awarded the Invested in Volunteers as well. So the areas we cover are Thamesmead, communities, care and support, and of course we've got our staff, Peabody Promise, but also it's generally across the whole organisation. We involve volunteers in a range of opportunities. We also support community groups with their volunteer recruitment, management and supervision. So the way we support you is we create new opportunities for you to become involved in the organisation. We organise and deliver training. We support volunteer supervisors, and we organise social events and activities throughout the year, and that includes awards ceremonies. We also support into finding work, so don't forget that we've got our employment team as well. We give our staff the opportunity to volunteer both within Peabody and externally on projects that mean a lot to them through our Peabody Promise scheme, and that really sort of highlights that we've got a really good approach to volunteering within the organisation. So you can be sure you're coming into somewhere that really values you. Here's a bit of a background on our approach. So we now involve our volunteers, residents, staff and partners to join us in human-centred design interviews and sessions to help us get the most out of our rich resources and to enable the people at the heart of our services to shape our programmes. So one of our heads of service went over to San Francisco to the D School, and he learned about human-centred design. And what this is basically interviewing a range of different people, taking their views back, really digging into what that might mean and what they might want to know and what to have. And then we turn that into programmes that really make a difference to people's lives. You might be asked to participate in future sessions. You'd be very welcome to join if you'd like to. So if this is one area that interests you, please let us know and we'll put you on our bank of volunteers that we can contact for support with human-centred design. So I said I'd go into a little bit more detail about the volunteering programme. So following an extensive review of our programmes over the last 2 years through the human-centred design approach, we now offer volunteers the opportunity to contribute, learn and grow through 5 main areas. So the first one is community leaders. So we've got pockets of £500 in micro grants. Volunteers can apply for that to do programmes within their local areas that they think are going to benefit the people that live there. We've also got our social action stream, which is around participation and programmes that help people to be more involved in their communities and also to start things themselves as well. So it links quite closely with community leaders. We've also got vocational volunteering and development, and that's getting volunteers involved in our departments across Peabody. So that's in our central services, but also out and about in the communities. We also work with management committees. So 17 of our community centres have got committees of people in them that are helping us to reach the people in those local areas. They're really, really important. And as mentioned before, we've got Peabody Promise, which is our staff volunteering scheme. And we offer our staff 2 days a year to volunteer on projects that interest them either within or outside of Peabody. So we've reviewed our values since merging with Catalyst. Our culture is about the shared views, beliefs and behaviours that determine how we do things and the ways and systems of working that help to get those things done. So looking at our values, we do the right thing, we celebrate diversity, we're kind, we pull together, we love new ideas, and we keep our promises. So you're going to be sent some handouts that really highlight what your rights and responsibilities are as a volunteer with us. One of those is a code of conduct, and the other is a volunteer agreement. So the code of conduct basically sets out what we expect from volunteers when they're here, and the volunteer agreement sets out the boundaries of your role, so what your role is and also what it isn't. All volunteers have a right to have their expenses reimbursed. We don't want any of our volunteers being out of pocket due to their involvement with us. So it's extremely important to us that we do that. So when submitting your expenses, please ensure that you use the volunteer expenses form, which we can make available for you. And your supervisor will fill in the cost centre and all the other bits on that form that you need to have in order to send it off to finance. You must submit your expenses with forms and receipts. We can't reimburse anything if we don't have receipts, but we can give you some more information about that in your handbook. If you've got any issues with your expenses, then the volunteering team is here to help. So during your volunteering, it's really important that you consider confidentiality in your role. So you might be privy to sensitive information which can't be repeated to anyone except your immediate supervisor or the volunteering team. It's also important not to speak about the defining characteristics or circumstances of individual residents or customers with anyone outside of your role. We work with residents and customers with high levels of need who are covered by special protection, and we've got a duty of care to make sure that they're safe and respected at all times. If you're in doubt about what constitutes confidential information, you can ask for advice from your supervisor or a member of the volunteering team. We've got an exercise sheet with confidentiality scenarios. If you'd like to have a go at these scenarios and then ask questions, feel free to request it from us. We also take safeguarding really seriously at Peabody. So safeguarding is the action that's taken to promote the welfare of children and vulnerable adults and protect them from harm, abuse and neglect. Staff are trained in safeguarding as a mandatory requirement. Volunteers can also access accredited training in safeguarding, so please ask to find out more. We've also got an internal process for reporting safeguarding concerns. So the bottom line is, if you see a safeguarding issue out on site, anything with immediate threat to life should be referred directly to the police. All concerns should be reported back to your supervisor, and also all concerns should be logged via the pod, which is our intranet, ASAP on returning to the office. Don't put yourself in any danger. If you're in a situation or see something you don't feel comfortable with, leave and report it to your supervisor or a member of the volunteering team as soon as possible. We have our own online system for reporting safeguarding concerns, so we want you to let us know if you see something that alarms you. If you think something doesn't feel right, report it, no matter how small you perceive it to be. This builds up a picture of activity which may support earlier safeguarding reports and enable us to get a clearer idea of what's going on. Also, we don't want any of our volunteers sitting at home worried about someone. If it doesn't feel right, speak to us about it and we'll take the pressure off you. Likewise, we're committed to keeping you safe in your roles as well. So all the roles that you're doing have been written and risk assessed by your supervisors, and we've got risk assessments that have been carefully considered as well. So we've got a health and safety team at Peabody, and they're on hand to provide advice and support to the volunteering team and to you as well. So if you've got any specific health and safety questions that you want answering, please do speak to the health and safety team. They're there to help. For more information on health and safety at Peabody, you can look in your volunteer handbook. It'll give you a bit more information. We want to ensure you've got the best experience at Peabody, and when you leave us, we want you to leave on a good note. And this might be because you've gained great skills to take to somewhere else, you've learned all you need to know from the role, or you need to leave us because you've gained a job. Some volunteers are lucky enough to secure a job at Peabody. Even though we can't guarantee that you can get a job if you volunteer with us, what we can tell you is that you'll get a good experience which might help you in your journey to getting a job. If you do get a role at Peabody, please let the volunteering team know so that we can remove your details from our records, and also so that we can celebrate the fact that you're still with us. So we'll soon be sending you your handbook, if you haven't had it already, your volunteering agreement and other handouts from this session. Also, if your role requires you to have an ID badge, then we can arrange that for you as well. And we might occasionally ask you to be photographed or appear in some of our articles. So if you'd like to do that, we can send you a photo consent form, and then you can fill that in, and that means we can use your images. We'll also give you the form for your expenses, so that if you need to have any of your money reimbursed, we can do that as soon as possible. If you've got any other questions, please do contact us with the details at the end of this presentation and we can help. If you've got any questions, please do feel free to contact us. Again, I'm leaving you some details here, but also at the end of this slide, if you want to pause the video to take down our details, then please do. And lastly, thank you for watching the video. I did say it was going to be short, but there is a lot of information in here. So if you need to watch it over a couple of times, please do. And if you've got any questions, again, don't hesitate to ask us.